So there's a lot of common misconceptions about how the economy works that can be dispelled with a simple understanding of networks and trade, and that people paint money as a finite resource or that people can only spend a certain amount of money. Well, actually, I'll show you how the government could spend infinite money in certain cases, how you can earn more money than exists out there, or theoretically, and how that money does not work with any system placing value, and that where the problems in the economy actually come from, an understanding of network and trade. So first, how can a person actually earn infinite amount of money in the economy? Well, let's look at it this way. I'm going to have my person here, do, and let's say there's $10 in the economy. I paid this guy $10. Nice and easy, pay him $10. This guy over here makes something or does a service. So I pay him $10. So both of these guys have earned $10. Then what I do is, this guy wants services from the first guy number one. So he pays this guy $10. How much has this guy one earned now? This guy has earned now a total of $20 because he got the original $10 in the economy back and forth twice. In fact, he could earn infinite amount of money if they just keep trading back and forth. And amount of money earned is different than the amount of money you spend. If I spend $10, as long as I get that $10 back, I can earn double the amount of money. The US economy, or any world economy, is based on this principle. There's more money floating around with the trade. People earn more money than there's money in circulation. Okay, so that means that if the government could theoretically, or any institution could theoretically spend infinite amount of money as long as they put the money into the economy and then got it back in. The problem is, of course, that speed of the money being transferred back and forth. If you spend more money than you have until next paycheck, you're going to go in debt, or anything like that. If the US government spends more money before it bills or taxes people again, it's going to go in debt. Or if it taxes people at such a high rate that they all go in debt. However, if they don't do it, if they instead increase the taxes, and that money goes back into the economy, then they can spend the money again. There's no loss of money. They did not consume the money. They took the money out and it went back to the people. And that is oftentimes what public services could theoretically do. But then, why don't we, but there's some major flaws with this idea. That is, if we have a third person that cannot participate as much in this trading, this person gets, let's say, only earns half the amount, has half the trading rate. So they earn $5, spend $5 when the other guys are going back and forth with $10. Half the speed. Well, eventually these guys are going to earn twice the amount of money and twice the amount of money. Well, this guy is just earning half the amount of money. These things are going to increase over time, but the wealthy, the people that are fast trading, will get richer and richer and richer, while people that are slow trading cannot get as rich. This means these people can lead to a sort of inflation where these people might be able to afford, these top two people might be able to afford more expensive goods, or they might make the price more. This guy says, hey, this guy's earning $10 every time I pay him, so I'm going to make my rice cost $10 that he sells. This guy sees that this guy is doing that, so he's going to increase his service to a certain amount of money also up. and then so on and so on. But this guy that's not earning as much money is left out, and he earns less money and slowly goes in debt. So far, pretty simple. If you're not part of the system that's trading fast and forth, the prices are going to go higher and higher and higher, and you cannot be, it gets harder and harder for you to catch up because you have less resources. How would you fix it? Well, one of the obvious ideas would be to try to include this person more in the trade. Have this person trade back and forth more. And if he's doing that, and the trade is more equal, that no one is trading too much or too little, he can catch up, he can participate, and the prices don't go out of whack. Now, what can cause these prices? What can cause this unequal trade? Well, there's a couple things that could cause this unequal trade. One is, the more money you have, is that just random fluctuations. If any system, if I randomly am able to trade more in the beginning, I can say, hey dude, I meet up with dude 1 before dude 3, before I meet up with dude 3. If I meet up with dude 1 first, I will give that dude more money because I just first meet up with him. Okay, he gets more money. Dude 1 now has more money, but dude 1 is immediately seeing me. He trades back and forth. And this dude 3 down here, he only comes along a lot after we traded, and I have everything I need, and I don't have everything, and dude 1 has everything he needs, so dude 3 is just left out, and dude 3 becomes poor because dude 3 is just left out of the system. Me and me and 1 keep trading until this person just is incredibly poor, and they can't afford our goods because we've kept raising the price. Okay, so I could consciously try to make an effort to spread my cash around, go to more different places, but it's not perfect, and the system can keep exaggerating. Another thing is that there's discrimination of people born with advantages that causes them to get more trade, or there's marketing. But a huge thing is, all this depends on speed of trade. And the speed of trade can be very, very different for different people. We have big companies that can trade stocks and other things in milliseconds. Or if you have a lot of money, you can make a large investments of millions of dollars like that and take it back, and you can move money quicker. You can buy stocks. You can buy a ton of stocks that other people cannot. You can be part of markets that other people can't imagine. You can get houses and get real estate cash, or all these other cash flows that make your cash more liquid. Well, a person that is poor, yes, they can move money fast, but they can't move money fast in the same quantity. They have to think about where they put the money. And they're going to put the money to the food or lifestyle. They're going to put the money in places that's going to take longer for them to get it back. They're not going to buy a house that they can then sell for more money. They're not going to make those investments that keep the trade up. Their investments are going to be food, which is going to keep them alive, but it's not going to produce them a ton of more cash after they sell it. The other thing is, besides the leads to inflation, there's this idea that buying stuff in bulk is cheaper. And this will magnify the effect even more. So we can start off with these random oscillations, discrimination, and we have market advances with trade speed. But then we have something where we have buying in bulk is just simply cheaper. And it will continue to get worse and worse. What I mean by this, okay, so if I can buy in bulk, I can save money in so many different ways. If I have to pay a person to transport one nail with a car, so this one little nail is being transported with a car, I have to take this car, this weird little car has to spend all that gas and fuel for this one nail. That is really expensive. If I have to pay for heating for a small house that's a lot less efficient than paying heating for a big building that I own. And so on and so on. You can figure out all these little inefficiencies. You can also, like, if I have to hire one person to clean up a small area, a lot more money with workers than if I hire one person to clean up an area of twice as much because I own twice as much area. The other way that buying in bulk is cheaper means that if I buy in bulk, I can also, it's also that I cannot charge I have to charge a minimum price for things. If I'm going to sell it at a store, minimum price is going to be 1 cent. However, there are things out there, such as certain metals and certain other products that can cost dollars for like almost tons of materials. Transporting tons of materials by train. Let's look at it. Train cost per ton of material. Train transport. We're going to see it's ridiculously cheap. So it's $100 about per net ton with rail and train. Direct rail is $70. Okay, so a ton is 2,000 pounds. That means if you have less than 20 pounds, if you have less than 0.2 pounds, you're going to easily get less than a cent's worth of money to transport it in theory. But that's not how it works, because I have to charge you a cent for the shipping costs, and so on and so on. That's why mail is more expensive. So the poor people have to spend more money for less return because we can't have too much of fractionals of cents. And it starts compounding that you can't get the benefits of buying stuff in bulk if you don't have a lot of money. And that's just an inherent thing, that we can't just keep on splitting the finite amount of money. Now, of course, we could lead to an inflation case, which is also bad for the economy, where one nail costs 1 cent, and a computer will cost like $1 billion, and people just earn billions and billions of bucks. But that gets too confusing for people to handle and other systems to handle, and it's actually a logistical nightmare. It also gets a nightmare where where the market becomes too unstable because there's too many levels. And what can happen with this instability is that if a slight change in because if there's a slight innovation in like how to make nails, the price is so unstable because it's such a tiny fraction, and everything has to readjust to this tiny fraction incredibly fast, because every little thing is going to cause like a big change that is amplified. Very unstable system when you're talking about like Miller dollars. So is there a way around all those inherent problems to the economy that buying in bulk will cause the rich to get richer, because the rich will get it, and buying bulk also means the rich can trade faster, which will cause food and stuff to become more and more expensive comparatively for the poor, which are already at disadvantage just because of random chance. They can't trade as fast and everything, and then the rich will just be trading faster and faster and faster and becoming more and more wealthy comparatively. Well, there is a couple ideas around this, and the one I proposed is one of the ones to propose is people stop buying stuff in bulk, but as community and collective. And this could really drive down the price. We already do this a little bit with some of the goods, public goods, such as public transportation. That's how it can be so cheap to an extent. Some places have public internet. You can see public land that was bought. They can buy a bunch more land cheaply when you buy it all together. And public resources, but you can also see it when a bunch of investors get together. But instead, if we did this for the more basic resources that everyone needs, we could feed people with spending less money on if we did bulk food buyouts or bulk foods and then did a distribution thing. We could also do this better if we instead of buying food directly with money, we have programs like food stamps or something like that, that everyone gets a food allowance or a food stamp allowance or some other way, a certain amount of food or free stuff from the government. And I know free stuff sounds scary, but then it becomes an independent thing for money. If it becomes an independent thing for money, it's not has this trade problems. It's not going to exaggerate the problem for unequal trade. People, you can't trade as much rapidly with it. You don't have the problem with the bulk problem I have, because it becomes more of a separate thing. So as people talk about decommodifying it, there's also people talking about wealth, taxing the wealthy and giving that money back to the poor. So wealth redistribution would be a way around this, and many more ways. But the problem is an inherent problem to the simple capitalistic system that will be exaggerated as time goes by, and we get more and more fast trading, and also the system goes older, and goods become cheaper to manufacture, so bulk goods will come better. So that's just a little quick aside about why network theory does not promote the simplistic capital view, and we need to move slowly or even fast to a decommodified future for maybe not every good, but for like the basic stuff. Thank you very much, and please subscribe for more videos. It really helps our channel, and please leave a like behind.